I'm from Canada, right? I was raised in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If the United States wanted to take over Canada, what time is it right now? You have a watch on a watch.
I do.
What time is it?
It's 3:12.
3:12. By 4:12, they could take Canada, right?
Yeah.
Well, we agree on that.
Yeah.
They couldn't, we have a few guys in propeller plane.
Yes. Now, your premise is America is superior to any other country.
Yes. Could you please?
Okay,
move
sure.
your chair in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me give you my premise. I believe it's
Okay,
the
go ahead.
best country in the world. Yeah, that's pretty simple. I believe it's the greatest country in the world.
Okay.
And I know you said you thought you really changed my mind.
Well, I don't think the United States is the best or greatest country in the world.
Okay.
I think there are a lot of very good countries to live in, and I would mention the ones in Europe, maybe Japan. I think Japan's a good country. Singapore is a good country.
Mm-hmm.
Australia, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these are Anglo countries, obviously,
Yeah.
because they all have the benefits of the British history.
Sure.
Now, let me get to specifics. Our country is perhaps the most capitalist
Sure.
or free enterprise country on the planet.
Okay.
And I think that's a major problem
Okay.
for this reason. To survive, free enterprise companies have to continue to grow. They're always competing.
Sure.
And if they don't grow, they will lose market share to other companies, and they will then.
You came here so gung-ho saying you're going to change my mind.
Yeah, I guess I'm not doing it very well, am I?
I've not interrupted you or anything.
Okay, no, you
I'm
haven't.
sure you have.
You haven't. There's no water in here for me.
Sorry. Just because it's a legal thing where if I give you water and then you go and say, "Oh, I feel faint."
Okay, got it.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we have a problem with that because as they lose their business in competition, they will eventually go bankrupt, and that company will then end, and they will lose. All the employees will lose their jobs.
Okay.
And have to fend for themselves. Now that's one problem. The other problem is that as the population of the Earth increases, which it has been doing, corporations have to continue to grow to keep market share, to keep the steady market share, because the market share is going up, population's increasing, so their consumers are increasing. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, they use more and more resources.
Okay.
And a lot of resources are in short supply. And more resources will continue to disappear. Now,
You believe this is exclusive to the United States?
No, but I think the United States is one of the worst offenders. Now, there's probably a worse offender, that's China.
Right.
In that respect.
Yeah.
They're using resources at an enormous rate.
But you named some countries. You said in Europe, Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Canada.
Would you put that at the top of your list?
I would put it at least even with the U.S., maybe better. I would just European countries, Germany, France.
So any countries that you would say are superior to the United States, since my premise is...
Possibly superior, but at least equal.
Okay.
And if they're equal, that negates your proposition, which America is the greatest or the best.
Okay. What's that? No? We're good. Okay, sorry. My producer's looking at me here. Do they have the same kinds of freedoms in those countries?
Yes, they are representative democracies, like our country. Many people consider representative democracy to be the best.
What about freedom of speech?
Yes, of course.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They don't.
Japan, Great Britain, Canada.
Nope.
Are you sure about that?
It is not
How
a
about
constitution.
Scandinavia, Norway, Finland.
Many of these. By the way, I notice you're mentioning very homogenous countries, so not a big fan of diversity, I'm guessing.
Yes, nice. That's true. They are.
But no, let me clarify. No, it's not a protected right in Canada, in Japan, certainly not in Europe. You can be jailed, fined, or many people are for saying something offensive. So to me, right away, before we get to the economics of it, right, we're the number one economy, we have the highest wage in the industrialized world. Before we get to that, number one I told you on my list was freedom. Freedom, equal opportunity, pursuit of happiness. Freedom of speech doesn't exist in any of those countries. And that's because that was a unique founding of our country. That's a big part of why I believe we're superior to those countries.
I'm not sure I believe that. I think
true.
Some of those countries don't have freedom of speech in a constitution, but they have laws protecting speech.
No, they don't. People are jailed and fined all the time. In Canada, for example, we've had comedian Mike Ward on our show, who was put before a human rights tribunal for a joke. Stephen Boisson, a pastor who was fined and jailed. You have a man who was jailed in the UK for doing a karaoke version of Kung Fu Fighting. It was considered racist. You have Dank Dog, the pug, who was taught to do a Nazi salute as a joke. There, the list goes on and on. And on. I feel like giving you enough specifics.
Nazi salutes and Nazis.
A pug did a little Nazi salute.
Yeah, the pug.
Yeah.
Anything dealing with Nazis is certainly banned in Germany and Austria, for instance. Yeah. I'm aware of that.
This was in the UK.
And that is
it was a man whose dog did the Nazi salute, which, let's admit, listen, I hate Nazis. That's kind of funny for a pug who did it while watching the show. And this man was put before a trial. The point is, freedom of speech doesn't exist in those countries. Does that change your opinion at all?
Well, again, you're making a statement that I'm not sure of. I know that in Germany and Austria, having anything to deal with Nazis, such as insignia or songs, they can't sing the horse vessel song in Germany, for instance. So there are restrictions on speech in those countries, and that means they're not as free as the U.S., where you can go out and sing the horse vessel song if you want and things like that. Of course, I would never do that.
No, I would never do that. Nazis, but do you support their right to do it?
Of course.
Okay.
That's if I didn't realize other countries. What about blasphemy? We can be blasphemous in this country.
Yes.
Isn't blasphemy legal in Britain and Canada?
I have no idea if blasphemy specifically is allowed. I know that it's actually a hate crime to speak out against the Quran and specifically Muslims in Canada, and that's a real problem.
I would never say they're better countries than the U.S.
Oh, no?
No.
Well, then you can't change my mind then.
I'm saying, say Muslim countries.
No, I'm saying actually in many of these countries, people are tried for hate crimes for speaking out against Islam. So that they do have blasphemy laws, I know, for that, for example.
You mean in the countries I named? Yes. Canada, Britain, Germany, France?
Yes.
I really don't think so.
Okay, so let's, for the sake of exercise, right?
Yeah.
Let's say I'm not lying to you. After we do this, I actually have this, you can reference these if you want to. And I've lived it. Let's say that's true. Would that eliminate any of those countries from being superior to the United States? If they don't have freedom of speech, if they don't afford that singular right to their citizens?
That would certainly diminish them, in my opinion, as far as freedom is concerned. Because freedom of speech is obviously a big freedom that we enjoyed in this country. We enjoy it in this country.
I'm a conservative, but I absolutely support I hope everyone here speaks out as loudly, as proudly as they possibly can. Yeah. And I don't even care if it's offensive. I don't care if it's rude. I believe it should be protected.
And I agree with that. Mm-hmm. I'm a liberal, and I'm against speech restrictions on some university campuses.
Oh, thank you.
I think, yes, I know. When I was a student at Michigan, University of Michigan.
Oh, are you from Michigan?
Well, no, okay. I'm not.
I was born in Detroit, but raised in Montreal. But my dad went to U of M.
Well, I went to Ann Arbor, and I was program chairman for my house.
Oh.
For a year, and one of the guys I got was a John Birch Society guy.
Okay.
And we treated him respectfully, and I did too. I thought everything he said was nonsense, but we listened, and I
thank you.
I don't mind that. I think people might be against that today, let's say at Berkeley or some other universities. Yeah. That would be prohibited or something. So yeah, I'm in favor of freedom of speech, and I do agree that conservatives shouldn't be restricted. Yeah. As they often are. Oh. Now, and that includes, let's say, white supremacists and racists. However, they should, and a lot of them have been denied speaking. Yeah. However, they should be able to do that in a controlled condition where there's security.
If they want to host, I'm not a white supremacist or not. I want to make sure you understand this.
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, good. I probably tipped up by me hugging the black lady earlier. But that being said, if they want to host their own private event and speak, I think they should have the right to do so, just like I think someone should. If you say freedom of speech is more restricted in those countries I named, Canada, Britain, it's not
Germany,
a right.
France,
it is not a right.
That would diminish them as far as best or equal to the U.S.
Look at that. We found some common ground. Can I get a high five?
Yeah, high five.
We both agree freedom of speech is important.
However, there's other things. I mentioned the economic situation. I think these other countries have a better balance between capitalism and socialism. Mm-hmm. You know, our country has a mixed economy. We have market free enterprise, but it's regulated. And we have a great deal of social programs. And like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. That balance is found in all these other countries too. they also have free enterprise to a certain extent, but they also have the social programs. I think the U.S. is lesser than those countries because its social programs are not as good as, say, Great Britain and France and Germany, which have better health care, for instance, in Canada.
Incorrect.
Well, I really think they're better than our. Yes.
Incorrect.
Okay, well, say what you want.
Well, I have to make sure that I understand. We disagree. Well, first off, at this point, you're now just saying in that facet they're superior with the social programs because we both agree they can have all the social programs. If they don't afford freedom of speech, they cannot be a better country.
And I think these countries are better in that regard.
In that regard, yes. Okay.
In that regard, yes.
Right.
And I would say that's a pretty significant difference.
Well, I would disagree. So the only, as a matter of fact, the standard when people say that socialized healthcare is better, it comes to a subjective poll when people are asked if they're satisfied with their healthcare. That's how Michael Moore said Cuban healthcare was better than American healthcare. Remember in Sitco? Everyone was parroting that for years.
I remember.
Canadian healthcare. Europe, you look at the mortality rates, they're much higher. You look at the wait times, they're much higher. Of course, not to mention we have the highest wage in the industrialized world outside of Luxembourg, a country of 600,000 people. So we have higher wages, we have higher standards of living.
I would disagree with that.
We do.
A lot of European countries have good wages on average for their people. The most
Statistically, the United States has the highest wage in the world outside of Luxembourg.
Per capita? Per capita highest wage?
Highest wage.
Okay.
Number one economy. Highest wage, and here's something else to consider, right? I'm from Canada, right? I was raised in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Okay. If the United States wanted to take over Canada, what time is it right now? You have a watch and I have a watch.
I do.
What time is it?
It's 3:12.
3:12. By 4:12, they could take Canada, right?
Yeah.
Well, we agree on that.
Yeah.
You couldn't, we have a few guys in propeller plane. Yes. And I love Canada for a lot of different reasons, but certainly I would not say it's anywhere near the equal of the United States.
In what? Healthcare?
In all facets, but that one too as well. But hold on one second. Let me finish what I'm saying. Let's change one thing. Canada, you have to protect your own borders. Go. Europe, go. Sweden, go. The United States foots the bill. You can look at what's paid into NATO. So not only do we have better, when you look at objective parameters for healthcare, and I'll get to that again in a second specifically with Canada, but we also innovate more. There's more medical research here, there's more clinical trials, more drugs coming out of here than anywhere in the world, not to mention we provide national security for the entire industrialized free world. If you remove that, all of a sudden, people can't have the same kind of social welfare programs.
Now, on scientific research, the amount our government spends on scientific research has been decreasing over the years. And the contrary to that, the amount
there's
spent
more in the
Britain
private. I'm
and
talking about in
other
this private space. We do more in the private space, not only the government space, but more in the private space than any of these other countries. It's not even close.
Well, I can't disagree with that.
Right, and that's a good thing, right? It benefits those countries.
Yeah, we do more private research.
Right.
Well, it benefits.
Which subsidizes their socialized program.
The companies mostly, and there's a secondary benefit to the population of the United States for jobs because it creates jobs.
Right. Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to have socialized healthcare if not for us innovating and creating modern medicine. Now, and then as far as, so you take that, you go, oh, okay, I'm starting to see a little bit of a different picture. The wages are lower, for example, in Canada overall. Highest marginal tax rate in my province of Quebec, I think, is about 52%. And it was actually, wait times were so bad in Canada. In Quebec, there's a Supreme Court case in 2006, I believe, Chouy versus Quebec, where there was a doctor actually taking cash to provide patients with care, and you weren't allowed to do that at the time. And he was put out of business. And the Supreme Court said it's a violation of human rights to not allow people to pay for privatized care in the face of death in these waiting lines. And now they allow privatized care in Canada. So they're going our way. They're actually allowing for more privatization because it's a disaster.
They're allowing more privatization.
Yeah, it was declared it was a violation of human rights to force someone into socialized health care.
And that's perfectly okay with me. I think that's an improvement. However, as far as overall health care for all the population, Canada and Great Britain and Germany and France are better because we have great health care for the wealthy, for the upper middle class, even the lower middle class. But for working class and poor people, our health care system is really bad.
It's still better than those countries you mentioned as far as survival rates, as far as treatment of terminal illnesses.
No,
yes, it is.
I think the statistics would disagree with you.
They don't.
I've read statistics. People are happier. They have lower infant. That's just one idea. They have lower infant mortality. They have.
No, they don't.
They have better health statistics in terms of cholesterol, things like that, than our country. So their healthcare system is working better, and in that regard. Also, they have better social security systems. Ours is you're just hanging on. In those other countries, the European countries, Japan, Great Britain, Canada, they have a better what you call the
Social
goal.
safety net?
Social safety net, yeah. Social safety net, yeah.
Again, they have a lot more free money to spend when we foot the bill for security. The United States didn't foot the bill security-wise. But that being said, for the objective parameters...
That is true.
Okay.
We pay, our military, what is it? We pay more for defense than the top 15 other countries combined.
Yeah, we contribute more to NATO than anyone else. It's not even close.
That's true, too.
They're not upholding their end of the bargain.
So I agree with that. They're not paying the percentage of their GDP that they should. Mm-hmm. Some are moving up now to that.
They're spending it on social safety nets.
Trump has started to threaten them.
Isn't that a good thing?
Well,
Don't you want to reduce the military-industrial complex and force everyone else to be able to protect themselves?
I think they should be paying their share.
Okay, good.
I'm aware of that.
You're a very reasonable person. I appreciate it, even though we disagree.
Well, I think we agree on a lot of specifics.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about your major premise.
But it seems like we agree with the premise.
I think if I was a German, I think a German would say my country is just as good as the U.S. or
But they'd be
Great
wrong.
Britain. And he'd have the reasons, and a Canadian would have the reasons. I really think so.
I don't think they have any reasons. And to go back to the one thing, healthcare, as you mentioned. By the way, I will agree with you.
Well, you're
Social Security is a
dogmatic. You're awfully
No, I'm not. Social Security is a disaster. Like Medicare, Medicaid. I would agree with you. Our social programs here are not very good. And I also don't think they're very good in Canada. I don't think they're good across the board. I don't think they're ever as good as privatized care.
That.
Yes.
Anyway,
well, but you mentioned them as sort of a blended economy. You mentioned Medicare, Social Security, and I would say those are examples of abysmal failures, which we agree with. They're not very good. As far as healthcare, again, this is very interesting. You said people are happier. Well, people were happier in Cuba with their healthcare than the United States. That doesn't mean it's better healthcare. People were happier in Venezuela 4 years ago.
I didn't think they knew the alternative.
That's the point. There we go. The alternative is far better here.
They were subjected to censorship of information, press censorship, educational censorship.
I hate to cut this short, but I actually do have to go to an event here coming up. What was your name again, sir?
Stephen.
Stephen. I'm Stephen as well. Stephen Crowder. Thank you so much, Stephen. Hey, I really hope you fellows was productive and good civil discussion. I really enjoyed your company.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.